chain. One more. Yeah. That's the sound of the men working on the chain. Gang, keep it strong. Ooh, ah, yeah. Ooh, ah. Oh, don't you know? That's the sound of the men working on the chain. One more. Gang, don't you know? That's the sound of the men working on the chain. Gang. Can you even say? Ooh, I feel good. Ooh, I feel good. You know.
Happy holidays, and thanks for returning back to 5 Star West, the show, The Truth. Today we have Coach Jeff Johnson from Chipola, and we'd just like to thank our sponsors that help us make this podcast possible, and a special thanks to Derek Chapman with Chapman Media TV. You can go to any smart TV, smart app, and you can put Chapman Media TV in, and our podcast will pop up. Also, we have 5 Star West on YouTube. That we have our channel as well too, so you can subscribe and like and see all these podcasts on. And so I'll redirect it to Coach Shannon so he can give us a little bit more about our special guest today.
Thanks guys for tuning in today. Today's guest is a personal friend of mine. We go back 20 years, 25 years, I guess, Coach, a long time. And we got to meet through a mutual friend of ours when I was scouting a little bit with the Braves, and Al was my boss. Al Getz introduced us, I guess, back in 2001, 2002, and just a little bit about Coach Johnson. He's a really humble guy, so he's probably not going to tell you. He probably runs, well, arguably the best junior college baseball program in the country. And a little bit about Coach, just so you guys can understand how fortunate we are to have someone like this on our show today. Coach has won over 1,000 games in college baseball. Was a Hall of Fame inductee in 2022, was National Coach of the Year in 07, 17, and 18, and he, over his years, has produced and helped kids, over 250 kids, after they left Chipola, continue their baseball and education career at 4-year schools. Has over 100 guys been drafted into professional baseball, 19 major league players. And this is going in his 29th season, Coach. I believe that's correct, right? 29th or 28th? 28th, wow. 14 Panhandle Conference championships. And just a little background about us, we've actually coached 2 major leaguers together. Barrett Browning, left-handed pitcher out of Wayne County, played for us in the early 2000s, went on to Chipola and pitched in the big leagues. David Buchanan pitched for us. He's out of Fayette County, around Atlanta metro area. He went down there and ended up getting drafted and playing in the big leagues with the Phillies, and played a little bit overseas as well. We've had several players: Jared Howell, Luke Gordon, Michael Belcher, Cole Garner, and Robbie Parker's down there now. Just to name a few of the guys we've had that's been fortunate to play up under Coach Johnson. And the way I kind of value or judge coaches when I send my players off is the information they give me when they come back, and not trying to blow sunshine, but just being honest with you. All the players that ever played for Coach Johnson, they really didn't talk about the baseball as much as how he made them a better man and a better person later on in life. So to me, that means more than having the 2 big leaguers, because as we all know, 99.9% of our players won't be in the big leagues. They'll be making a living somewhere else, in their life. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach a little bit, and he can kind of describe, a little bit about what Chipola's got going on this year, and then we'll get into some questions and get some things rolling. I appreciate it, Coach. How you doing today?
Doing good, Shannon. Thanks for having me on, man, and we appreciate it. It's been a long run here for us. I think, around 2000, so we got to know each other, and it's been a great relationship, and the respect goes both ways. The kids you've sent us have been guys who will work hard and willing to learn, willing to listen, and they play the game the right way. So it's a two-way street and all that, but we're proud of what we've done with our program over the years, and proud of where we're going with this thing. I'm really excited about this year's team. Really feel like we can swing the bat well this time. Had a couple pitchers come in with injuries a little bit from the summer, so we had to pick up a couple guys there. I think our our depth, our staff, and our pitching will determine how and where we go this time. But we're excited about the upcoming year and what we got going on here at Chipola.
Well, Coach, I just hope we have players good enough to, that you'll recruit, later on, because, like I said, Chipola is one of the, best junior college programs in the country year in and year out. And I know that's really hard to sustain over a course of 28 years, and the reputation you guys have. I mean, playing in the Panhandle Conference also isn't easy. I think that's like the SEC of JUCO. There's no off weekends, so to speak. So, there again, having the success that you've had over these years playing in the conference that you play in is pretty amazing. And we got a few questions for you. We have, some questions from some of our players and some of our parents, and as well as me and Coach Chad right here. And I'm glad you didn't steal Coach Chad away from me, 15 years ago. I appreciate that, because I know you offered him a job, and that's to his credit, and we hooked up. And I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to go, but I said whatever best, and thank God, Chad stayed with us, and it's worked out really well for all of us. So appreciate you not stealing my man.
Yes,
but
Shannon, this is a heck of a league, and it's a great league, and probably one of the things that's the most disappointing thing of this job that we have is you do lose your coaches pretty often when you in this job, and when you have success, I think it's our job to give them wings and move them along, but it also sometimes causes you a little continuity issue of keeping it together year after year after year. But proud of what we've done, but also proud of what our assistant coaches have been able to do and move on to different places they have, either in collegiate Division I ball or professional baseball as well.
Well, I know several off the top of my head you've helped not only move on as coaches in the collegiate arena, but scouting, professional baseball, things of that nature. And they're young, and it was so funny. You kind of groom them up and a really good mentor to them as well. We're close to the same age, but kind of been a mentor of mine. You're a little bit like I am on the tougher side of things, and a little bit, no polish. It's just what it is. And so I appreciate the times we've been able to talk about players and talk about the game. But I feel like going forward, this game has changed for us dinosaurs for the worst in a lot of ways. And we'll get into that in a minute. But, hopefully, things will change back the way they used to be a little bit, and be a lot more substance than just, a lot of smoke and mirrors. And I'm going to let Chad start with the questions today.
Yes, sir. Well, speaking of coaching and coaching staff, Coach Russ Hickson, he's a good buddy of mine, and he's come recruit in our area and stuff like that for you, Coach, and we appreciate him. He's a good young one. But we'll start off the questions. What's the benefits of playing JUCO right after high school? Everybody wants to go Division I or stuff like that, but I think JUCO has a lot of benefits. I played JUCO, so I definitely is a JUCO bandit and an advocate for JUCO. So just let us know the benefits of playing JUCO right after high school, Coach.
Well, I think the first couple of words you said, playing, is the biggest benefit.
Right.
I think if you look at it, and I've had a lot of years to go back and look, and in the recruiting piece, when you're talking to recruits about things, is how many true freshmen really go in and play at the Division I level? I say 5% max. Okay, any meaningful at bats or pitches, probably 5% of true freshmen go in and play any meaningful pitches or at bats. That's the key to the whole thing. I think that, everybody's been programmed through their families that went to a 4-year university. You want this college life. You got 4 years to get it done, and this, that, and the other. And I think that's a lot of the selling point. The bright lights and the glitter of wearing those jerseys and putting now only social media page, Shannon, and all that. But truthfully and honestly, what's best for the kid is to play. We get the transfers back every year, that we had recruited out of high school. And a lot of times those guys have taken a step back, and it's not physically they've taken a step back, it's mentally because they hadn't got the at-bats and the pitches to do it. But, I think the biggest thing and the biggest advantage we have is the playing time. We have 24 scholarships. We only carry 26 on our roster. So we don't have that roster of, they're saying it's going to be 34 this coming year. So if we sign a guy or have a guy on our team, so to speak, more or less, they're going to have to be a contributing person on our team. And the way I do pitching, We pitch count our guys a lot, especially early in the year. We start at 30 to 40 pitches and kind of bump our way up, which in turn makes me pitch more people, and it keeps us work fresh toward the end of the year, as far as that part of it too. So it allows us to have to play and pitch more people, play a lot of doubleheaders as well. So I think playing time's a big thing as far as answering that question for you.
Well, a lot of times too, it's not the player. The player realizes where he's supposed to be. Usually it's the family, the mom, the dad that wants the big glitter of the 4-year school, and they have to kind of eat some humble pie. And a lot of times we tell our players, look, if you really want to see baseball as purist, and if you think you're that good, go down there and try to get Chipola's lineup out. Try to go down there and just go watch a game, and you're going to be seeing guys 93 to 96 with 2 pitches and things like that. And it kind of humbles them, because I try to tell them, look, you got to understand this is a process. And I know that's an overused word, but it is, and especially with today's game, as you know, it doesn't matter where you start off, it's where you end up. And out of our Major League guys, I think 11 out of the 19 or so that we've had started off in junior college. So baseball, as you say, Coach, is a lot different than any other sport. It's where you start off and you get to playing time, and there's really, they talk about having a college life. You mentioned that. It's pretty funny to me because you're now, in my opinion, you're an employee of that college. You don't have a college life. You have a baseball life. And you really get a good sense of it when you go to these small towns and junior colleges, and see how much you really love to play this game. And but and this is going to go into my next question. So how do you feel about, Coach, the new rule, getting 2 years of JUCO, playing 2 years, and then getting another 4 years of playing at a Division I school or 4-year school? Because I think that's, number one, academically, it's going to help our guys. And then, it's killing the high school kid, let's get that straight. But what's your thoughts on the new rule, having 2 more years or 4 more years after the 2 years of JUCO?
Well, Shannon, I don't think it's going to kill the high school kid. I think it's going to put them where they need to be, most of them.
There you go.
To be honest with you. It's going to, the reality of where things are going now, if this does happen, now I expect the NCAA to fight this very hard. I think this year it's going to be allowed. I'm seeing where the Division Ones have granted the football players an extra year, so I'm assuming they'll do that with the baseball players as well. And then they'll adjust accordingly at the end of the time. But I worry, that the NCAA will fight it. And we'll see where all that goes down. But I think for us, I think it's a good thing. When I first saw it, I didn't really know what to think about it, if it was going to be good or bad. But the more you look into it, I think a lot of kids, as I mentioned earlier, go to Division I because they've been programmed, mostly through their parents and recruiters to think you only got 4 years of college. You need to use those 4 years to be at the bright light and the glitter school. So now if you're able to go to a junior college and play, which is the most important thing, and all your options are still open. I mean, you can still get your education. You can still go to a Division I after your first or second year. The rules as far as qualifiers and non-qualifiers has changed a little bit over the last few years, so it's made it easier for kids to get into the Division I's. We don't have the non-qualifier as much as we used to have that. Then you get into the portals and all the other things. It's pretty easy for a kid to move to another school now. But I think, if you do go junior college, this rule comes into effect, even more, it's even started happening in Shannon now. I mean, I've been talking to some Division I guys, and there's guys talking about only signing 5 to 6 high school kids in each class right now. And normally that 5% that we talked about on the earlier question, most of those guys are pros that are playing the freshman year. So I think for us, again, it's going to help us if this does come into effect, to more kids say, hey, I need to go to the junior college route. And the Division I's aren't probably going to take as many, because you look at the rosters, even this past year, the age of a high major Division I team is probably 21 to 23-year-olds right now, maybe 21 to 24-year-olds on most of those teams that are playing. And I think this will only make your teams older at that level as well. So, there's a lot of things that go into it. Professional ball end of it, of the pro teams wanting to get younger players versus older players. to the big leagues and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of dynamics that I don't think any of us know the answer to right now.
Right, and it kind of scares me a little bit, having 25-year-olds playing with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. There's just a lot of unknowns. But like I said, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, I think there's be a lot of things happening in the last year with this, along with they said that this will be a 34-man roster. With all that, but now can they still bring 50 or 60 in the fall and have to get to 34, later on or whatever? But I think all those things will be seen here soon.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach, we'll go to the next question. We always deal with parents who want to know how you get exposed. How can you get recruited by a program like you guys? So the question is, how do you guys do your recruiting? Do you go to tournaments, showcases, private workouts at your campus, word of mouth from guys like Coach Shannon? What do y'all typically do for your recruiting?
A little bit of every one of those things you said.
Yes.
I think you hit everything, the nail on the head there. We go out. I'm not a believer in recruiting a lot during the season because I want to spend my time with the players we promised we were going to develop and have a winning season and win championships. So we go out some during the season, but we work, and and Shannon mentioned earlier what's there to do. It's in Marianna, Florida, and I get that question sometimes, and when I get it, I said, what do you want to do? I said, because we're going to start at 7:00 in the morning until about 7:00, 8:00, well, probably about 8:00 at night. We got something planned for you to do. Okay, so you've got all that going on, but no, on the recruiting piece of it, we have a showcase here every year. We're out in the summers at all the events in the summers. Word of mouth, thinking us, over the years, I've got a pretty good network. I've got a bunch of calls, and then we just kind of have to zoom in then as far as figuring out who we want to take, where are we with prior years. That's a thing that goes into it a lot of times. If you do have a returning shortstop or, you always want to have two of those, but if you have, a bunch of returning pitchers, you don't need as many the next year, and all this, that, and the other. It's a year-to-year thing, year-to-year proposition, so to speak, of what you need in the recruiting. But, I think everything you said from us going out and watching showcases, your network, all the other things that come into effect, word of mouth, scouts, this, that, and the other as well.
Well, I think it's got to be a good marriage of wants and needs. What you guys really want, what you need, putting those pieces together, which you guys have put together a really good puzzle over the years. And getting back to the recruiting part and things that we do, and Coach, you can justify this because you've been doing it. We started this thing, this is my 28th year as well, and how the different way travel ball has messed up the game that me and you and Coach Chad really love, because of the internet. Quick, everything has to be done right then. You can't wait out the process. Back 4 or 5 years ago, guys were getting commitments out of 8th and 9th graders, and they hadn't had the car key test, and that's big for me. I talk about the car key test at 16 years old. What you're going to choose, because now you have options. And when you go to junior college, playing with someone like you that has something for them to do from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., my mom always said, idle hands is the devil's play toy, and we all know that. So once you have that program, there's no college life, so to speak. It's a Chipola Indian life, and people, even good players, bad players, they weed themselves out. And that's what I want to stress to our parents and players that are watching this is it's no easy life. This is, you're not going to sit and be at the fraternity house or sorority house, just kicking back, having a good time all the time. It's pure work, and people want to play for Jeff Johnson, but do they really when they get there? Because they don't understand the amount of work it takes to be who you are and what your program is. And same thing with us. I mean, people want to play for us, but when little Johnny don't run out of ground ball and they go back to their grandmama after we kind of getting their ass a little bit, it's a different animal. So, I appreciate what you're doing, because you're making a lot of players grown men as well. And, next question. the workload we talked about from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You know, what far as the new thing with all the, I guess, the bands, and because you're a pitching guru, I've learned a lot just talking to you about pitching, you know, and do you guys have like a bullpen routine? What do you guys do on the pitching end to try to keep these kids healthy? What's a good suggestion that you could tell our guys that are watching this? What would you suggest with high school guys going into a college career to keep those guys healthy as can be as far as the arm goes? Because I hear some guys say, hey, we need to throw a lot. I hear some guys throw less. You know, I hear some guys say it depends on the body type. Tell me what you see, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's a little of everything, but what would you suggest for someone that's kind of a newbie coming in this thing at 15 years old over the next 4 years?
Well, Shannon, there's a lot of things. I'll try to run through some of them, but I think the biggest thing is flexibility and mobility. I think everybody's got into the world of getting strong, and that's good. I mean, I think you got to be a certain strength to be able to do things, but I think the flexibility and mobility has been not taken to heart enough. Everybody gets strong, and I think when you get into flexibility and mobility, it's the deceleration phase that goes away first of all. And when you're not able to decelerate and get in your decelerator, something's going to blow when you get big and strong. And I think that's the major reason of our Tommy John issues that we have right now. You know, I kind of came up in the times of right when we started lifting weights. It was taboo to lift weights right before I was probably a ninth grader when we started lifting weights in baseball. So we didn't lift much, but you never heard of a Tommy John surgery at that point. Okay, and the more we got into the weightlifting and all that type stuff, the more we've had Tommy John issues. You know, I don't know if it's some nutrition stuff involved as well. I think it's probably not just one thing. Okay, but I think the kids have gotten so much stronger that the ligaments and tendons can't handle the force that they're putting on it. I don't think it's throwing too much. I mean, I'm sure there's a case of that somewhere, or some cases of that. I don't know if we throw enough. I mean, you know, when we were growing up, we were in the backyard throwing every day. You know, we weren't only throwing baseballs, we were throwing footballs, we were shooting basketballs, we were throwing tennis balls, wiffle balls, all the different things, throwing from different angles. You know, probably a little more athletic. We were probably water skiing and doing some other things back in that day. You know, so you know, it's a fine line there as far as all of that. You know, I think your pitch counts are big. I think you need a certain amount of rest in between the days you throw, and all of that. You know, Russ Hickson helped me with my pitching here now as well. Russ has been with me his third year, and he's a great young coach and got a great future in front of him. And you know, I kind of take some things from some of the younger guys that they've gotten. You know, we do all the band work. You know, the weighted ball stuff to me, if running and throwing a weighted ball up a hill or down a hill into a net, or you know, all that other stuff, I don't know how good that is for you. Some people are showing some progressions of people throwing harder. You know, I worry about the win rate more than I worry about the spin rate sometimes. I think
Amen.
You know, they'll if somebody's swinging and missing at your breaking ball, you got a pretty good breaking, spinning pretty good, okay? And if they can't hit your fastball up in the zone, it's probably got some inverted break to it, okay? So it's pretty. If you got some eyes, you can see that. I think some of this stuff was made for some people that don't have eyes to be able to see. But no, we do a little bit of all. We use the band. We do use the bands. I do like the weighted balls. You know, some of the exercises of shoulder strengthening stuff. You know, so it's a little bit of everything that we do. It's a pretty big day. We do plyometrics, box jumps, one-legged, two-legged, explosive type stuff. We really work on our mobility piece with it, with all our players, not just our pitchers, but with all of them, and get those hip flexors are loose and their body can work for them.
Well, you know, knowing who you are as a pitcher, knowing who you are as a hitter, to me, especially with everybody trying to hit one way, lifting pitches, you know, hitting 325-foot fly balls, taking right turns at first base, not having any kind of pressure at bats or quality misses. I mean, kind of talk a little bit about that, what you sometimes might have to change and kind of convince a kid, because being coaches, that's what our job is. We work with these young kids. They're 5 foot nothing, $1 They're wearing out the top of our net. Then I've even went back, now Coach, you'll laugh about this, I've even went as to do video and listen to Chipper Jones, Juan Soto, all those talking about, get the bigness out of your swing. Work from the ground up. Best hitter ever lived, in my opinion, Barry Bonds, works off the top of the plate, first 10 swings. Trying to create a little flat plane. Now we got guys, mom and dad will sit there in the cage and go, hey, hit it in the air, hit it in the air. And I'm like, number one, you can run, dude. You know what? Know who you are, what God blessed you with. And I tell Coach all the time, in my years, now I know you've coached a lot higher level player, but we've only had 6 pure power hitters over my course of time. And with that being said, talk a little bit about when you go recruit somebody and you hear they can run or they can do some things offensively, and they're living in a wrong back path, and does it really help them, or do they kind of need to understand who they are as a hitter?
Well, Shannon, I've kind of gotten mean in my old age. I told my assistants, do not bring anybody that swings uphill into our program anymore.
Amen.
The line people and me just don't mix. I think you match the plane of the pitch. The higher the pitch, the flatter the swing, the lower the pitch, the more launch you have into it, okay?
Right.
You can't hit a ball at your belt with a launch angle swing and do anything with it but miss it or pop up. Okay, and again, like you said, one size doesn't fit all. If you got a guy that runs a 6'6" and he can run, he's got some instincts on the base, he's going to create runs in different ways. So he needs to get on base as many times as he can. Okay, so his swing should be a little bit flatter. Okay, the guy he's a doubles type guy. He's probably be somewhere in between that a little bit. You got a guy that can't run, that weighs 250 pounds. I don't want him hitting many ground balls, so I don't allow him to hit some more fly balls.
Right.
Okay, if he's got some power. But it's the same thing that you said earlier about, your guys. I mean, every team's different. And you play to each team, you have strengths. Okay, if you got a bunch of athletes who can run, we're going to bunt, hit, and run. We can do some other things. If we got some guys that got power, we're going to sit back and let them swing a little bit more. So, everything. You just don't say one swing does everything, because I think that's what's got Major League Baseball in the shape it's in right now. When we were coming up, Shannon, there were people that hit 400 in Major League Baseball. Okay, now guys that are hitting 230 to 250 are celebrated, and they hit their 25 home runs. Well, everybody can time up an old fastball from a reliever or a third or fourth, fifth starter every once in a while and hit a home run. And the thing that people don't understand, the balls are harder in Major League Baseball now than they've ever been. Defenses are shorter. Okay, so they're playing into the narrative of home runs. Okay. Right. And another thing on the launch angle part of it, probably for the big leaguers, most of those guys can hit the ball over the fence. Okay, right. So whereas in high school and college ball, we had a team about 3 or 4 years ago, and we had a few of those guys swinging uphill, like you were saying, in BP, and their best bolt was going about 315, 320 feet, and we were catching in front of the fences. And I said, guys, why would you ever swing up on a ball? You can't hit it out of the fence. You can't hit it out of the park, So you need to play into your own strengths as well. But again, match the plane of the plane of the pitch. The higher the pitch, flatter the swing, lower the pitch, the more the barrel is going to move uphill a little bit with you. But when you drop that barrel, when that barrel deplanes on you, your swing becomes longer. Okay, and when your swing becomes longer, you become exposed to breaking balls and good fastballs in quadrants of the plate. Okay, so we talk, one of our big things we talk about is take your hands down the chest line until you recognize the pitch. Every pitch, my hands are working down my chest line from in to out. We don't ever work from out to in. Okay, Chipper uses the word. I'm proud Chipper's gotten on Twitter a little bit here lately and called a few of the hitting gurus out. Chipper says work down the chalk line of the plate a lot, which is his thing. Mine's always been down the chest line. The other thing, when you're in those cages, hit the ball into the back of the cage. Yes. Don't hit at the top of the cage. Don't pull every pitch. All that. Try to hit as many as you can into the back part of the cage, not the top, not the bottom. And I think if you'll do that, train yourself that way, you'll have a better chance of having some hit ability. Something that we've even gotten to a little bit is hitting wiffle balls again, because nobody hits wiffle balls much anymore.
Nobody plays pepper anymore, Coach, by the way.
Pepper, wiffle balls. We used to hit tennis balls, racket balls, whatever the heck it was that we could hit. But do that. Tally yourself. How many did I hit in the back of the cage, or how many did I center up? We do a lot in our BPs. we don't just throw fastballs. Now you got to have a BP thrower that can throw some breaking balls and change ups, because here at the junior college level and probably Division I level, you're seeing at least 50% off speed. So why should you hit fastballs all the time?
Right.
So we try to learn to hit the breaker. The mini hack attack has been a great machine for us with the heater balls, being able to use that to create some life to the fastball. It doesn't beat their hands up as much as the regular baseballs do, and you also can get a good spin on a breaking ball as well. So, that's just a few things. But again, like I said, one size doesn't fit all. And once that barrel deplanes, that means you have to reach further and further and further out to get that ball. So you have to commit earlier, and it's not a good thing to be a hitter when you do that.
Well, I hope our young hitters just listen to you. We say a little different. We think about taking half an X. We talk about half an X. Make half an X across your chest. You're talking about staying in the chest line. Chipper Jones talking about different things. Being short to the ball. And this is really, for me, it's really hard when when they watch enough baseball games. Some of our players don't watch baseball, so they don't understand. But the good ones that do, they'll come in and try to hit like this guy and that guy, and he's a 9-year-old, and I can say the name, but it's pretty Cole DeLong, love you to death. He's so smart that he's stupid sometimes about some of the things he does. The guy could be a really great left-handed hitter one day. He has some really bat-to-ball skills for a 9-year-old left-handed bat. And, getting those young guys to buy into who they are and not be like someone they see on TV, which now is kind of a catch-22. I'm proud of kids watching baseball, because a lot of kids don't even watch it anymore. I had the best players in the world playing during the playoffs, and on 4-on-1s, I say, hey, did you guys see blah, blah, blah? What are they doing now? And they look at you and say, well, they're bunting now, and they're stealing bags, and they're doing some things that they don't do in the regular season. And they just look at you like you're speaking Chinese, and I don't get it. But, going back through some things real quick, I know our relationship's gone for a couple of decades now, and I know you guys do a great job, and hopefully we can continue this thing. And I know the season you touched on your season what the outlook is coming up in 2025, and I'm just very thankful of our relationship and the players that you've helped me help as well. And going forward, Coach, I just want to tell you I appreciate your time. You didn't have to do this, because when somebody mentions baseball, they know who Jeff Johnson is. And it's a pleasure of ours to get a chance to kind of pick your brain a little bit for 20 or 30 minutes. And I'll say this, and you're one of the guys that when I call, if you don't pick up right then, I get a phone call that day, and that means a lot to me. And again, Coach, I appreciate everything, and hope the future's good, and we'll be down to see you here pretty soon, okay?
That's good, Shannon. It works both ways, man. I appreciate you guys and Andy as well over the years of what all y'all have done, and the way you demand excellence out of your kids as well. The kids need to hear the truth, and the kids want discipline this day and age. The parents have got to allow that to happen, but the kids want discipline, and you've got to work through that to find a team that'll be a winning team versus just a team. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate being on, and anytime I ever help you guys, let me know.
Yes, sir. Have a good day, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Bye-bye.